Knudsen,
What is up, Mr. Tursky?
this is Two Guys Talking Golf.
Oh, it is. It just feels so good hearing you say that every week.
We're on week 3. We're just in the swing of things now.
Yep.
Now we're officially back.
It's just two old boys just doing their thing, talking about golf.
Talking about golf, talking about equipment. And it is
right.
the Waste Management Phoenix Open week.
The love it or hate it tournament. You either love the rowdiness and everything that comes along with 16, or you absolutely hate it and you wish it didn't happen and you wish it was calm. But I, for one, big fan. I'm a big fan of having a tournament that's not necessarily the same as every single other tournament. And if that is being a little rowdy on, one or two holes and all that, like I'm game with that. I'm cool with it.
Are you going to shotgun beers on the couch while you're watching?
I mean, if I didn't have a 2-year-old daughter to follow after, then probably, yeah, I would. But but no, probably not.
She's going to be shotgunning milk while she's watching.
She's going to have her glass of vitamin D milk, and I'm going to have a Budweiser, and we're just going to, get a little rowdy and cheer on our favorite PGA Tour pros.
So we actually have a sneaky stacked show this week.
Yep.
And we had the pleasure of talking to Mr. at Lead Tape Chronicles on Instagram. We love this page. So this was like a cool moment for us. We had no idea who this guy was going in.
No.
And pleasantly surprised with just how cool his backstory is, how good of a golfer he is. So I think people will be really interested in that interview.
Yep.
Now, otherwise, the Waste Management was kind of popping off with gear content. So we'll kick it off with a story that kind of rolled in from last week, Tom Hoge.
Yep.
So he's a Titleist guy all through the bag. There was an interesting story, actually. He switched from a TSI-2 because he was not driving the ball well. I guess he hasn't been a good driver of the ball throughout his career. I talked to his coach, Scott Hamilton. I talked to Titleist fitter JJ Van Wiesenbeck. And they were just saying stellar iron player. This guy's kind of a freak with the irons, but driver has always been kind of a struggle. So Scott Hamilton kind of took Hoge under his wing and really worked hard on his driver. He was playing the TSI-2, which is the more forgiving of the two models.
Yep.
And they just worked so hard and made such good improvements. He was picking up speed where it was all right, let's check out the TSI-3. So he ends up switching into the TSI-3. He starts gaining speed because he's getting more and more comfortable, kind of letting it rip. He was playing Aventus Blue, then goes into Aventus Black because he had to get spin down because he picked so much speed up. And that was a pretty recent change over the off season, and he's just been playing really confidently. Already a great iron player, driving it well. So he obviously goes out and wins the Pebble.
That's an interesting change because the TSI-2, at least for me, was a significantly higher launching club than TSI-3. And I still have a TSI-3 here, and it's like a 9-degree head, and I have to put a super high launching shaft in it to make it really work for me. I mean, I'm a low ball hitter anyway. I don't hit it super high. But it's funny that he went from a very forgiving, little higher launching head to the low launch, low spin kind of, I wouldn't call it the beast because there is TSI-4, but, to that low launch, low machine that is the TSI-3, which is a phenomenal head, and then went to a stiffer, lower launching, lower spinning shaft as well.
I know. Big changes, and honestly. Pretty big changes.
It's a huge change, yeah. But like you said, I mean, if he's bringing more spin, he's bringing more speed, typically more speed, depending on other factors, will bring into play some more spin. So it makes sense, but it's just, man, that's a very interesting change, from that combo to the Ventus Black with TSI-3. Very interesting.
It is very interesting. I'm bearing the lead on the most interesting club in his bag, though, which is the putter.
True.
So
Dude,
Greg Moore, we see Tom Hoge pull up on the range at the Waste Management. And obviously it's all right, let's check out his bag. So Greg Moore goes over, he's taking putters. He takes the driver off the head cover, 3-wood, going through the irons. He takes the head cover off the putter. And we both kind of look at the putter and we're like, wait a second. That's no normal white hot OG 2-ball. There's something going on in there. The weight's missing, and there's a plumber's neck. So I kind of ask him, like, what's the deal with that putter? He's like, honestly, I don't know much about golf clubs, but I know this is a one-off. You got to talk to Joe Toulon, who's the Odyssey rep. So I'm like, let's go. I get all fired up. So I go right to the Lead Tape Chronicles. Just follow TG2 WRX on Twitter. That was live. Got the follow.
Love it.
Okay, so I go right to the Callaway truck. I'm like, I got to talk to Toulon, get the lowdown on this putter.
Yeah.
So he starts explaining the story. So Tom Hoge's caddy, his name is Henry Diana Jr.
Yep.
Okay.
I had to read it a couple times in the article.
Yep. So at the Desert Classic this year, Hoge's having trouble with his aim on the greens. He's aiming left.
Yeah.
So he's looking for a putter that's going to sit square. I think he's looking at a bunch of different mallets. He's really played like a blade with plumber's neck throughout his career, but he's kind of looking at mallets. And Diana Jr., he goes to Joe Toulon, like without Hoge's knowledge. He just goes to Toulon. He's like, hey, I think a 2-ball is going to be good for him. But the problem is that, Odyssey doesn't have any 2-balls with a plumber's neck, and like Hoge's set on a plumber's neck. They both knew it. Like Toulon and Diana, they're like, he needs a plumber's neck with a little toe hang, even though I think the 2-ball is going to work. So he puts the order in, Toulon, for this custom putter. It finally shows up the week of Pebble. So
there was like 2 weeks to make it or something like that?
Week and a half, 2 weeks. Custom order. So it shows up, Toulon's like, he's measuring out the putter. It's way too heavy because the hossel's plumber's neck. So he takes out the back sole weight. He's like, it's still a little heavier than his gamer, but let's see what he thinks. He shows it to Diana, and Diana's like, it's perfect. Let's go. Let's show it to Hoge. Hoge likes it off the bat, but he's like kind of waffling between a bunch of different options. Like no one knows what he's going to do as of Wednesday night. He has like 3 putters in the bag. Obviously, he makes the decision to go with the custom 2-ball.
Wow.
Wins the event, hits the huge 20-footer on 17. But then Toulon says, you got to talk to Henry because there's a little bit more of a backstory here. He was like, I don't want to butcher the story. There's some sort of backstory on this 2-ball. So I was like, all right. Now I'm really fired up. I'm like, what is it?
Yeah, of course. Chasing this thing down.
What is this story? Like, man, I just thought it was a cool little custom job, but it turns out there's a lot more. So I talked to Henry. I'm like, what is the deal? Like, Toulon told me to talk to you. He's like, okay. So back in the day, Diana Jr., he was a professional golfer who also had trouble with aiming left on the greens, like while he was playing.
Oh,
so his dad's a tool and die maker. Okay. He also makes putters on the side. Okay. So his name is Diana Sr. He's a senior. So one day, Diana Jr., he's playing the Pels 3-ball.
Which
is insane. This is like early mid-90s. This is way before the 2-ball ever came out.
Yeah.
The Pels came out.
Odyssey made a 3-ball at one time, but this is not even close.
Right. So the Pels came out in like 86, 87. And so Diana Jr.'s playing it in the early mid-90s. And his dad goes to him. He's like, three balls is too many. He's like, you're struggling with your alignment. Why don't you let me build you a 2-ball putter? So Diana Jr. puts in a 2-ball putter. I guess it completely fixed his putting woes. So he's playing this 2-ball putter. And then like 6 years later, Odyssey puts out the 2-ball. So that's
the biggest putter release ever.
Like ever. And he goes to his dad, like, you missed the boat. Basically, you cost yourself $1 zillion. They made $1 zillion of them. But he's like, it all came full circle when I was able to help Hoge fix his putting problems the same way my dad helped me fix mine. Like, and he was like, you know, I really believe in the 2-ball, and we finally got paid back because he finally got the win. It all came full circle, you know. So that was just like such a mind-blowing story, such a rabbit hole of a story.
Oh yeah, and like how many? I mean, I understand that like if you're a caddy with you know, you're caddying at the professional level, any type of information you're giving your pro is basically life or death in a sense. If you give them the wrong yardage, you give them the wrong whatever, like the wrong read on a green, you know, whatever, like that could cost you a tournament, cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, it's a whole like domino effect of what it could cost. But to have like that type of relationship where you can be like, yo, like build this putter without him knowing, and then taking it to him and being like, here you go. I mean, that's pretty huge. I mean, I don't think too many caddies would be willing to do that. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I feel like that part of the equipment side, that thing is like left up to other people. You know, whether it's a tour fitter or whatever, like those things are left up to the player and somebody else. And to have your caddy like, yo, build him a putter. Because you know that wasn't cheap either. Like one off it, dude welding it. I mean, that probably wasn't cheap to do.
No, it was definitely a risk that he took, but it's like, that's a caddy you want in your corner. Like, he literally just wants you to improve. And I asked him, I was like, does Hoge know, like, all this happened? He was like, nope, not really. Like, he wasn't,
he still doesn't know.
He wasn't, like, looking for the credit. He just wanted to get, like, the right putter in his hands that was actually going to help, so.
I mean, they're a team. I mean, they go out there, and like I said, I mean, they're a team. I mean, the pro's got to play. He's got to hit the shots. He's got to execute those things. And the caddy's got to go through, do his research, you know, the course management side, all that stuff. And if you know, one of them is off, they're probably not going to win that week. So, yeah, I mean, for him to go through it, he's just trying to get his player to win, and he's trying to help the team. And it is a pretty unique putter. I mean, the hosel is very short. Like, it was much shorter than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like they, like you said, I mean, they want a little toe hang there, so it looks like they took it down a little bit because it's really kind of stubby. And then it just looks funny with the weight gone, like it fell out. That's a putter that's sitting in like an amateur's bag that you just get paired up with at the course. Yeah. You look down and you're just like, bro, like you lost your weight. Like, did you lose it on 14 back there?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's gone. Like my dad had a 2-ball that had a weight and it was loose and it rattled when he putted with it. And I was like, dude, just give me the putter. And like, I had to tighten it. I was like, I can't take this anymore. But to this is like, yeah, your weight's gone. Like it's a wild looking putter, but you know, from address, it looks really good. I mean, like you said, it's just at a plumber's neck. They actually put the long sight line across the two balls. And I think it looks really good.
Yeah. So
I think it came out good.
So cool little story there. Let's get into some other things from this week.
Yeah.
We finally caught up with Brooks Koepka.
Blonde hair and all.
Blonde hair and all. New Shrixon Cleveland staffer. Well, I guess it's not new, but, you know.
Yeah, it's... When did he switch over? He switched over back...
that was November, I believe. 2021, November. It seems longer ago at this point, but I think it's because, like, he threw in the Shrixon irons back at the Desert Classic, like, beginning of 21. So it kind of felt like... I think we all kind of knew the writing was on the wall that, like, he was going to sign with them eventually.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You know, that was a seemingly random switch at the time. But, you know, after talking to him a little bit, it seemed pretty organic. Like, he wanted to try the irons, and he just really liked the soles. He liked the V-sole. He liked the turf interaction with that. It kept, like, his face square, as he was saying.
Yep.
But
I have to say, those I played them all last year. I just actually gave away my set on my Club Junkie Instagram account. Mine were raw. I had them stripped of the chrome. But yeah, that turf interaction, especially for like if you're a steep player and you take some divots and you know you get into the ground, I don't think there's a better sole out there right now than that V-sole. Really good.
Yeah, I actually asked him a question in the press conference. I usually don't ask questions in the press conference, but he's kind of tough to get a hold of, just like on the side for talking equipment. But that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
He was like, I had never heard of the sole. I didn't know anything about the sole, but once I hit it, I was like, yep, these are going in right away. So he was like, easy transition. And then probably following that is when the gear deal discussions like came into the forefront. But yeah, so we caught up with him this week to see what he has in the bag. He does have the new ZX7 Strixon driver in there, TaylorMade out. He's still got the M2 Tour
I was pretty surprised
3HL fairway wood though.
Yeah, I was really surprised the driver left because he was playing because he went to like Sim and then he like went to Sim 2 and then he didn't go back to like M5 and he was playing like an M5 for a while.
He was.
So I was shocked. I didn't think the 7 was going to change right away. I thought that could be one of those roads where like the Hideki wormhole where they've got a bunch of prototypes and all that, and he'd eventually get into one. But I was shocked that went in the bag as fast as it did.
I think he just said that it's as good as anything that I've hit, and there's no reason to not put it in. I mean, he kept the same shaft too.
Good.
Like he's been playing that delimited forever, so there's still a little familiarity there, and it's like once you kind of get the loft, the look right, and it's something where the spin's not crazy, and he's hitting the center of the face every time anyway.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
There's a comfort level there with him making that switch, and then the driving iron, still got the Vaporfly Pro. That ain't never coming.
What's going to happen when that wears out? What happens when that wears out? You think he does?
Probably stockpile.
Or is it going to be like
yeah?
Is he going to be like Berger and start hitting people up on Instagram and stuff like, yo, anybody got a Vapor Pro 3 iron?
Hit me in the DMs. You know how many Vaporfly Pros he would get if he actually said that?
Oh, an insane amount. But that thing has been in the bag forever. It's it's all beat up when you look at it, but it's just one of those clubs. Like he's so comfortable with it, it's not going anywhere. And he plays that Fuji Pro 95X, which is pretty darn stout. Like I've got a 95 stiff in like a 4-iron that I have, and that thing's legit. I mean, it's definitely a legit shaft. So. But yeah, that thing it's just so funny to look at and see there's still some Nike floating around there. Still some Nike floating around the tour. You do.
He's not a big switcher, so it doesn't surprise me that he keeps clubs like that around. But he does, he's got new Cleveland RTX, the Zip Core, raw.
Yep.
3 of them. The 60 has like a really cool grind on it. And he was saying they spent a lot of time trying to get that grind right because he was like, I played Cleveland back in the day as I was a junior. I love the profiles. It was really just about getting that grind right. And it's
looks like they've done like a little C grind to it almost. Yeah, like taking a little off toe, a little off the heel.
He's had some custom work on that thing. You can probably check it out on our Instagram at GolfWRX on Instagram.
Yep.
First plug of the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
First plug.
Yep.
First of many.
And then you can talk about the putter.
And then, of course, there's a.
I know you're all fired up.
I mean, it's a Scotty Cameron Terillium. It's a Newport 2, and it's just like we were talking before we recorded. I'm not a huge Cameron guy. I don't get into the collecting, all that stuff. Are they great putters? Absolutely. I own one. They're phenomenal putters. I just don't get really deep into it, and then. You just look at this thing, and I mean, on the bumpers for tour use only, it's just so clean. And I'm more of a Newport than Newport 2 guy. Like, I'd rather go the more rounded bumpers of the Newport, but that thing is just absolutely filthy. It has my initials on the toe. I mean, everything about it.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's got my initials on the toe, but it's just, I love the look. It's just super clean. I kind of like it in the Pro Platinum finish. It just looks really good. It's in perfect shape. You can tell, like, he doesn't slam that thing around or anything. I mean, it's just a great looking putter. It really is. And if I had just like if you could say like, hey, you could go on tour and pick anybody's putter, but Tigers. I mean, because who wouldn't take Tigers? This is probably what I'd take.
Are you serious?
It's that good. Yeah.
That's big words.
I mean,
well, I think I'm probably taking Spieth's. Honestly, I'm a sucker for that raw rusted look. But this Brooks putter is not the same putter that he won all his majors with. This is the Terillium TNP2.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different than that T10 that he had, but it looks very similar. It's got the same insert.
Yeah.
It just has the dots in the back, which, as a Terillium user myself, I'm a sucker for those dots in the back. I'm telling you, I really am.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, that thing's just awesome. I really like it. Like I said, I'm a big fan, and I would game that thing in an absolute instant.
And then he said he's just really happy with the golf ball in general. He's got a Z-Star prototype in there that he says it just doesn't move in the wind. It goes a little bit higher, which he likes for the stopping power. Just a little more height on the irons. And so we caught up with him a little bit. We got a look in his bag. We 4 months in, kind of gauging that comfort level with where he's at. Cleveland Shrixon, obviously a big move for a guy who was an equipment free agent for 5 years, but he seems nothing but happy, and he's got a couple clubs laying around from back in the day in the bag to where he can stay comfortable. So
yeah, no, it's a good looking bag, man. That's a really solid setup. I like it.
So that's the Koepka update. Also ran into Green Bay Packers quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. He's got the flow.
Will he
going.
be? Yeah.
Yeah, will he be a Packer going forward? I'm not sure. But as of now, he is Green Bay Packer quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. And he is a tailor-made athlete.
I don't know if he's actually signed with TaylorMade or considered a TaylorMade ambassador or exactly what the deal is, but he has some sort of connection with TaylorMade because he is all TaylorMade out. He's got the new Stealth in there, and while I'm taking photos of his bag, he's got so many people around. I wasn't gonna actually interview him.
Yeah.
Plus, I had seen 2 minutes before a girl. They had a camera crew right over there, and she goes up to him. She's like, "Can I have an interview real quick, Mr. Rodgers?" And he was like, "Nope." No interviews. So I was like, okay, he's probably not in the mood for any interviews. He's out here playing golf. But while I'm taking photos of his clubs, I just asked him a quick question, how you liking the Stealth? He's like, dude, the feel of this thing's amazing. So he's pretty fired
really
up
good.
about the Stealth. That's all I got from him,
but here's
by the way. I don't have any more insight from A-Rod.
Well, here's my question, though. Is so he's got a Stealth Plus 9-degree head with what looks to be the stock hazardous red smoke RDX, and it's a 6.0 stiff flex 60-gram shaft. Okay, that's off the rack.
It doesn't match the rest of the shafts in his
Nothing.
bag. He might have bought this club.
No, you want to know? I thought he did. He probably got one of those carbon wood boxes that TaylorMade sent out. They're all over there because that's the exact same spec that you and I both have.
Oh my God, yeah. I didn't put that connection together. He definitely just got one of those boxes. That's true.
And it's just set up in the neutral position. There's nothing. He just pulled it out of the box, put the head cover on, and threw it in the bag. But it's very different because then you go to his 3-wood and he's playing a Ventus Black 7X in a Sim 2 Max 3-wood head.
He has speed. He's a strong dude. He's also a pretty good golfer, and he has speed. So playing that stock RDX shaft, he was probably driving it all over the map in the Pro-Am. I don't know. I didn't follow him, and I don't know how he played, but my guess would be is that he was spinning that thing way too much. If he gets dialed into a Stealth, he'll probably like it, but he definitely just got that box.
Yeah, he got the box. He pulled the thing out, and he went and played with it. And it's the same. It looks to me the exact same spec.
I didn't even think about
that went out. And everything else, like his driving iron, he's got a Sim UDI with a Ventus Black 7X. Everything in there is X. And then he's got a 60-gram stock stiff flex shaft in the driver. It's just interesting. I'll just say that. And he's also playing the milled grind 2 wedges. He hasn't moved to the 3s. It doesn't look like. Which I kind of get. They're a different shape, and if I think performance-wise, they're both really good. I never liked the mill grind 2 shape. I thought it was way too square on the toe, way too sharp edges for me. I really like the MG3, but it's one of those things. If you really like that shape and that look, I get why you still have him in the bag.
I also just think he's not going to the Kingdom every year and upgrading his clubs. He might buy his own clubs, or he just has a TaylorMade Connect he hits up every now and then. He probably hasn't even tried the milled grind 3, is my guess. Just kind of looking at his bag and getting a feel for his setup. You would think if he was, a TaylorMade brand ambassador and getting fit all the time, that his Stealth would be dialed in, and it's not the stock one that every Instagram influencer got.
Yeah, But no, he also could wait to get fit till like after the season. I mean, his season just ended, a month ago.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So,
that's true.
In terms of getting fit, even he just probably hasn't had time to go down to the Kingdom and get fit and get into all the new gear. So, who knows? We may see him. If he pops up in another pro-am sometime later this year, he could have a full different bag and going.
Yeah. All right. So for the sake of time, I know we have a bunch of interviews that we want to get to, and they're awesome interviews this week.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Won't waste too much time. You guys just listen to us jabber on. But Adam Scott does have a new lab putter, lie angle balance, LAB. That's what it stands for. A new Mez 1 the proto putter in the bag, broomstick style. He actually threw it in for, it was at least a round, but maybe just the last 2 rounds of the event over in Dubai. I didn't know he made like a mid-tournament switch, but just going on Getty Images, he started with an arm lock version of the directed force, like the original lab putter.
Yeah, the DF 2.1.
Yeah. And then the last couple rounds on Getty, you could see that he's playing with this new Mez 1 Proto. So I guess he switched mid-event.
Hey, I've done it. I mean, not in a PGA Tour event, but I've been with a golf group with a bunch of boys up north, and things going well.
Listen, I'd switch from righty to lefty mid-round. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's true. I've seen
that I get it. But spend a little time. I got to talk to Scott himself, kind of get where his mind's at. He's really liking this new shape. He's basically saying, it's a little less off-putting than the regular directed force. It also works better with the broomstick style, which he says, he wants to go into broomstick. He doesn't want to do arm lock or short putter when he's out there playing. I know you have more intimate knowledge of the Mez 1 than I do. Did you say you have the putter, or you have it on the way?
Yeah, I have one coming that I'm going to mess around with. I've fortunately been able to talk to Sam Hahn, who's the CEO over there, and it's basically what they call lie angle balance, which means with toe hang, you hold a putter up, and when you hold it in your hands, the face will be anywhere from parallel to the ground to the toe of it will fall over and kind of point towards the ground, and there's a lot of toe hang there. And if you take a lab putter and you set it in your hand, the face will basically be perpendicular to the ground, and it'll be basically towards the target all the time. So there's no twisting force or anything through the stroke, and it's supposed to keep the face square to the target and lined up. And it's pretty interesting. I mean, the WX forums, there's a couple forums with guys who've been messing with lab putters and guys testing them. And it seems like people who give them a legitimate shot are very, very impressed with the results. So I'm excited to try one. I've never been a great putter. I've been okay. I'll get streaky and putt well for a little bit, but I'm excited to try it. But it looks pretty interesting.
Are you going to give us an honest review after you try it?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be like, no matter what, this thing's awesome? I need the honest review.
I'll let you know how it goes.
I mean, it looks pretty cool. He has a raw aluminum version. I guess he wanted the putter before it was like really ready for production type stuff. So he's got the cool little raw head on there. It's just interesting. I mean, you never know with Adam Scott what he's gonna throw in the bag. He's always got something going on. But it's cool kind of getting into his mind. I do have a story about it over on golfwrx.com. And with that, I mean, let's waste no more time. All right, Knudsen, we got a special guest in the building, live on the show. Our first interview since we've come back, actually.
I know.
So a quick little backstory here. If you follow gear on Instagram, you've probably come across Lead Tape Chronicles, the page where you see a bunch of golf clubs all with lead tape, tour product. Just random guys who submit their golf clubs. He'll post them on up there. So I've been following him for, I don't even know, like 5 years. And we've kind of gone back and forth just with photos here and there. Lead Tape Chronicles. I'm sure that you've heard of them, Knudsen. So
I have browsed through many a times, and just looked at some of the amazing clubs and some of the monstrosities that Andrew has posted on his account, and there is some very cool stuff, and there's some stuff that you just shake your head at and go, What the hell?
So
you see both ends of the spectrum.
exactly. So I'm racking my brain of like who we can get on as one of our first guests, someone that I've actually wanted to talk to. So I dove right in the DMs. I don't usually do this, but I dove in the DMs, Lead Tape Chronicles, hit him up. Be like, hey, you want to come on the podcast? He was like, yeah, let's do it. So here he is.
Love it.
Andrew Von Lasso. I think I got that right. Is the pronunciation right?
That is great. Doesn't happen.
Nailed it.
So I appreciate that. I go by AVL for the most part, just to kind of shorten things up.
Yeah, AVL. Love that.
I like that.
Do we have to like blur your face out on the video? Like, are you trying to stay incognito with the page? Or how does that work?
Yeah, I do like to run a little behind the scenes, but I think I might show myself here and there. But I really want to keep it about the clubs and about the lead tape. Just it's something different. I started in 2018 in July, and I was kind of on Instagram, golf Instagram, browsing around, and I'm like, saw some cool pages that kind of kept posting day by day with kind of a niche theme. And so for me, I grew up, my dad had a golf shop in Seattle, Vaughn's Golf and Putter Studio. So he's been in club repair. He had a shop for 30 years. Wow. So I grew up in the club shop. I work on a few clubs here and there, but he's still the master. He still works on them to this day. He's 70, so retired. And I'm like, so I've always been into golf, been into deep golf, you know. So from that, I'm like, hey, had a few buddies were like, hey, this one's got lead tape, or I'd see clubs in my dad's shop. He's like, this thing's not heavy enough. Let's put some lead tape on it. Get the swing rate right. And he likes his clubs. You can really feel the club head. That makes sense. Playing tournaments and other things like that. You got the adrenaline going. You're like, hey, let's feel the club. And so one thing led to another, and I'm like, let's just see if I post a photo every day. So it just started out of fun. And at first it was just my buddies' clubs, and then I'm like, hey, I need to start tagging people to make this a thing. Then all of a sudden it's like just getting messages and, hey, check this one out. And I'm like, hey, something's starting here. So it's been really cool.
So you were like born to be super into lead tape with your dad owning the shop.
Yeah, exactly.
You were born for this.
Right. Yeah, there's head tip weighting, and then it's like, well, a quick fix lead tape, or hey, you want to hit a fade, put it out here, or hit a draw, turn it over a little bit, a little more in the heel. So it's just that making a club yours, which is really cool. Instead of just off the rack.
First of all, congratulations on the Instagram success. I mean, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun what you do. As you know, me and Knudsen are super into the gear world, and we just like what you do. But when was like that first boom that you had where it's like, okay, I got something here on Instagram, like I'm gonna keep rolling with it?
It was I definitely do remember it. I was kind of plugging along, posting day by day, and then I know Ian at Sugarloaf Social Club. So this is a 2018 or 19. Yep. But I kept tagging people just because I'm like, another thing is I'll see whatever's in the photo and tag that as well, because I'm like, hey, this is a lead tape community driven page. Whatever's in there is a little shout out here and there. But I was like, I'll tag Sugarloaf in this because something I had had a visor in it or something. And then one time he tagged me on his stories as Odyssey 2-ball, and I think it's like a center shaft one. So those are pretty popular in the mid 2000s or something with the center shaft. Now you don't see them too much. I think it was a DFX, so even a little more niche. And
the black, all black.
Yeah,
head.
And then the bottom just had this lead tape caked on there, and that's my favorite when you see it it's weathered. It's been through some battles. It's got some character to it, and then it's like, a few followers, and then it kept ticking up, and then it's like 800 followers. I'm like, holy smokes, I'm not used to that, And I'm like, man, this is pretty cool to see because I just love looking at clubs, all kinds, hitting everything. Just a club nerd, So, but then you add that custom element of lead tape on there. It shows, hey, it's your club. This is for your swing. This isn't just buy it off the rack and it's because it's cool. You're doing it because you want the performance side of it too. Just make it yours.
Now, are you a big lead tape user yourself? Like if you were to pull out your bag right now, set it in front of the camera, I mean, are we going to see a bunch of lead tape on everything? And are you doing it because performance, or are you doing it because you are the Lead Tape Chronicle guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do have. I haven't put it out in writing yet, but I do have some metrics, some classifications in my head. Is that real lead tape or is that kind of vanity tape? You know, so
exactly.
It's like, so honestly, right now, I've got just lead tape in my 7-wood, 3-wood, and that's it right now. Because I have some mirror irons, some CB57s, and I got those refinished last year by Tiger Knit Golf. And I got the Project X. I have 6.5s in there, but I got the black onyx shaft. So I have these all black mirrors now. I've had the iron since 2014. I really like that model. And but we put a little heavier head weight in it, so they were about D3, D4 swing weight. I like my irons about there. But I had a set of Mizuno 919s last year, and they were out at D2, and I'm like, hey, I need those D4. So those have more tape, but that is performance-based. But yeah, right now, it's the end of the day. Right now, my bag, not a ton of tape, despite being a Lead Tape Chronicles guy.
Now, and unlike submissions and stuff, I mean, people they can go to your thing, like DM you photos or whatever to send them to you, right? And do you ever get some that you look at and you're like, okay, this guy's just doing this, like you said, like vanity tape. Like this guy's just piling it on, and you can tell it's new. He's just trying to get a post and get tagged and all that. Like, do you get a lot of those, or is it more majority like people who legitimately have clubs with lead tape on them? Like, this is my baby, like I've had this wedge for a couple of years. You can tell it's, like you said, been beat up.
Yeah.
Like, what's the ratio between like trying to fake it?
I'd say right now it's 80, 20 for genuine tape use. I do get the ones where you're like,
that's awesome.
It's like, you can just tell when guys are just like, hey, I'm trying to hit a fade here. And it's like this huge, just a ton of tape on the toe. And you can tell it's not pressed in the right way. It's like, hasn't been used for any rounds. And it's like, that's fine. That's going to be all right for maybe a couple rounds, but that can fly off in the driving range. With putting on tape, you can get alcohol or acetone and wipe it down and then press it on there, use a Sharpie or a T, and really, you got to grind it in there to really make it stay on, and do that for each layer. So sometimes I can tell, like, hey, put this on my page, put this on the page, and it's like, that doesn't quite work out that easy. I got to see a little bit of game use,
You ain't getting on that easy. I know you follow tour equipment as well. Who would you say is the king of lead tape out there? I got a couple in mind for me, I know, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say since the beginning of the page, I'd say Scott Piercy is one of the original lead tape guys on there. My buddy Phil Reedy knows him. So
That's the guy.
Yep.
He was like, man, hey, check this out. Scott, he's got these. And so from there, another guy coming on strong this last year, Billy Horschel with those custom Titleist irons. Looks like he has them.
Yeah, man, those are so cool.
Yep.
Yeah, those are really cool. Because that's a true custom set of irons. I love that old school. It's like, hey, that iron's he went the route and made that work for him. And then Tad Ridings last year,
and they're bent 4 degrees too.
That's right. Yeah, so that'd be, I think, a Club Weaker or something. Or yeah, he's got totally custom set.
Yeah.
Then Tag Ridings, I messaged him last year. He won on the Corn Ferry Tour, and he's like, I got all this tape on here, so that was cool talking to him. And then it's like a couple weeks later, he won. I'm like, that's awesome, a Lead Tape Chronicles winner in a way.
I think Phil Mickelson slept on too, though.
Oh yeah,
that dude likes his lead tape.
Yeah, with the putters.
Yeah, what was it for that while? He had that. The putter that had like a block just on the back, like the dead center. That Odyssey was at PM8, and it had just a block of lead tape on top of it. It was crazy.
I play Hickory golf as well, so a lot of those clubs are really light. And my dad's big into Hickory golf. I am too. I like playing with a few tournaments each year. So one of the putters I have there, it's really light, but I put a bunch of tape on the back. But it was the lighter density one at first. Then I have some heavier on top. But basically, I call it the lead tape flange. It's not too bad. It's kind of tapped down a little bit over time. But just creating stupid fun terms like that,
We need to talk more about this Hickory golf. That sounds really fun. I know me and Knudsen, didn't we talk back in the day about like trying to get an event started with Hickory Golf, and I've never really played it myself, but it sounds like so much fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've never played it either. I mean, I've gone into shops and or like the Goodwill and seen some older clubs. They're not necessarily Hickory, but they're older and all that. But yeah, like that's starting to become a big thing now, from what I hear. Like I've seen more and more people getting into it. I think like Tad Moore is back to like building persimmon type drivers. I mean, I think a lot of that retro stuff is really coming back, and people are really enjoying playing with that stuff.
Yeah, that's for sure. With Tad Moore makes clubs. I actually play his irons for Hickory. So with Hickory Golf, the Society
nice.
Hickory Golf rules is you can play a modern replica, but it has to be okayed by the Society. So it's still wooden shafts. The club heads can be newer. So that's like Louisville Golf, Tad Moore are kind of the main ones for the modern Hickory companies. And then other clubs have to be pre-1935. So that opened up a whole new can of worms.
Oh, my God.
It opened up a whole new can of worms of learning about equipment from like 1900s and stuff. Like Tom Stewart, he was in St. Andrews. He kind of makes like the premier Hickory club. Even to this day, it's like that's the most sought after. And he was known for like playing a round or two a day at St. Andrews. And he made Bobby Jones clubs back in the day before Bobby Jones went to Spalding. So it like opened up a whole new thing of just learning about clubs and a new level of geeking out on equipment.
What's different about the performance? Like, how much distance do you lose, and do you play from different tees than you normally would?
So performance-wise, irons are going to fly pretty similar to modern, just maybe 10 yards shorter or so. They fly straighter. So if you're offline initially, the ball's going to stay offline. When you hit it solid, the club makes even a better. It makes this incredible sound, and it's a solid shot. That's just number one for me. I love hitting it solid. And then driver in the woods, they're going 20% shorter unless you can catch it just right and hit a big tumbler out there. Or hopefully you're playing a firm course. But yeah, normally you will play. Those Hickory events are 6,100 max yardage, 58 to 6,000, I'd say. And the ball's not spinning as much, so you're looking at the courses different. You're saying, hey, where can I land this in front? So you're hoping the course can run out a little bit. This ball doesn't spin that much.
What courses do you actually play on?
So usually with the so there's different groups across the country. There's Southern Michigan, there's Northeast, West Coast, there's Northwest, and Florida. But usually the kind of itineraries like courses before 1935 designed. Not always the case,
wow.
but
So even
that's the main thing. So like, and this last September they had the U.S. Hickory Open at Gearhart in Oregon, and that course is 1892. The U.S. Hickory Open. Actually, I won it, so that was cool to say.
Wait, you won the U.S. Hickory Open?
Yes, got around in 74, 72 at Gearhart in September.
Get out of here! Congratulations, that's awesome. Oh my God. I didn't know we were talking to the U.S. Hickory champ.
Yeah, seriously. I thought we were just talking to some Instagram Instagram influencer, and now we're finding out he's an encyclopedia of just golf knowledge, and the dude's winning Hickory tournaments.
Turns out he's the most interesting person in the world. Like, who would have thought?
Exactly.
Wins
the U.S. Hickory Open. What trophy do you get for that? Like, what does that trophy look like? Is it a bunch of hickory?
This one was the traveling trophy since it began in the 10 years ago or so. So got that, and then I got a coveted medal, which is I can't remember their son. It's a company in Scotland, so it's a gold medal, and it has like the young Tom Morris scene on the like a St. Andrews type scene on the back of the medal that says first place. And I'm like, oh man, it's a gold medal, So that was seeing that.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's just as cool as a gold medal to me.
Yeah, it's like a gold medal. It's like, oh, that's great seeing that one.
So you're obviously a very competitive golfer. Like, did you play in college? Have you tried to play professionally? And like, do you still play competitively?
Yeah. So college, I didn't get looked at colleges. I learned later you have to recruit yourself for college golf. So my advice for any aspiring high school player, recruit yourself, reach out to coaches, unless you're playing really, really well, which I was like, I could shoot even par once in a while. But I still love playing tournament golf. And from there, I was like, college golf, I don't know. So I went to community college, did video editing for a couple of years, and I'm like, I still want to play. So then one thing led to another, had connections down to Southwestern Oregon Community College. So I played there in 2009, and that's in Coos Bay. And at the time, the home course is Bandon Dunes Golf Resort. So I got there. Got there in January, and it was always the fall season, and I came on late into the team, and then a buddy of mine, one of my best buds now, we played on. We were going to play there no matter what every day. So pretty much went to Bandon every day for 6 months, rain or shine, every weather. And then we had a really good team also. So we were competitive during the season, and then team championship, the conference it's called the NWAC, Northwest Association Community Colleges. We won the NWAC title, and then I won the individual title for the conference championship. So I was like, that was a dream 6 months. That was 2009. Damn. So that was really like to call Bandon a home course, and we play back. So then it was Old McDonald was just opening up. It was a 10-hole loop, like in June of that year. So that was 2009. So we'd mainly play trails and Pacific, and then Bandon was always busy. And our coach Mike Koepka, he's a director of communication there now, and he was our coach. He was assistant pro at Pacific at the time. So we'd call. It was just like, is this real? Like you'd call up the pro shop, hey Koepka. Hey, what are we looking like out there? He's like, all right, we got a 250 at Trails, 310 at Pacific, and Bandon's totally booked. We're like, all right, let's go play Trails or Pacific. Those are, I love playing those. So then, end of the year, our special treat, we got to play the 10-hole preview loop at Old Mac. And so that was like, oh my gosh, we're playing the new course at Bandon. So that was an amazing 6 months to do that. So,
what's your favorite course out there?
I gotta say, I like playing trails the most. I love playing trails.
Good man.
Same with Tursky and I.
Yeah, and I really
like. We just played there for the first time like 6 months ago.
Oh, cool! Yeah, and you guys, you're there at the Punch Bowl. I love playing the Preserve. Also, I've been back a couple times since.
So fun.
But it's like, it's just playing with trails. I mean, I really like Pacific. I like the quirkiness, and then the back nine's really cool, the par threes and par fives. But I know Bandon. I love Bandon too. And then you're along the ocean. Something about trails, the Core Crenshaw courses, the ones they just got a cool feel to them.
Yeah. Yeah, Trails was awesome. Like so, we played it twice actually when we were out there. We played that twice. We didn't play Old Mac. That's the only one we didn't play. And it was like I said. I mean, it was phenomenal. I mean, Sheep Ranch was amazing, but yeah, I mean, everything out there is pretty special. So to call that a home course and just get to play it every day is just like that's unfathomable.
Yeah,
and that and your calves must have been monstrous at that point.
And you probably played in some of the worst weather of all time. It gets cold. It gets cold and windy out there. My God.
Yeah, you get your cheeks, just rain driving your cheeks and getting blasted in your ears with the raindrops. Like feels like little needles hitting you. Like, yeah. Then I did play pro golf for a couple years in a way. Did Dakota's tour in 2010. Didn't do too much out there. A lot of good learning experiences. Set some baselines for some learning experiences. But one thing that did happen from that is my friend and I, Eric Benji, he caddies in the PGA Tour now for Bronson Burgoon. And he was playing alongside us. We traveled together, but he had friends in Bozeman, Montana, and that was kind of our home base for Dakota's tour. And then that kicked off a friend of ours caddied at Yellowstone Club, so that was 2010-11. So that kicked off a relationship for me to I caddied for Discovery Land Company courses. Kind of kicked off the connection there. So it's kind of long golf story, but anyways, yeah, from caddied at Yellowstone Club after the summer of Dakota's tour, because I was still a student at Eastern Washington University, and then got a job from Nashville from caddying at the Yellowstone Club in audio video world. And so from Nashville got to work outside of golf for a while, for a couple of years, and I was a member at Golf Club of Tennessee and Fairview Plantation. Next year, found how pricey country clubs can be, but it's just that deep passion for playing golf. So I wasn't quite there yet. So I outkicked my coverage, but got to play, and then got let go from the job. So I got back into Discovery caddying again. So I caddied at Hideaway, Madison Club, and then the Summit when it first opened in Vegas, and then Gaza Ranch. So for that 5 years, kind of in that 10-year period, moved around a lot in the 5 years, did the seasonal golf thing. And now I'm here in Spokane since 2018 as a permanent home base.
Permanent home base, we'll see. You've been all over the map. But obviously you keep your game in pretty good shape. Where do you play these days?
So I'll play at Indian Canyon here in Spokane. It's a really cool course. They host a Pacific Northwest Major every year, the Rose Hours. And the course is cool. It's a Chandler Egan course. Is opened in 1935. And a couple tournaments it hosted back in the days, like in 39 or 40 or 41, the Esmeralda Open. So Byron Nelson won a tournament there in his year where he won all the events. And Ben Hogan and Sam Snead played there. And those kind of guys during those times. So it's cool to have the history there. And then I'll play at Manitou Country Club as well once in a while with the guys up there if I get the invite. And then I've been helping out this winter in the TrackMan simulator. So it's a great group here in Spokane. When
we were talking off air a little bit, you had mentioned you qualified for a USGA event. How did that come about, and what event is it?
Yeah, that's a career first for me. So in October, I played with my friend Sean Langham in the Boise qualifier. We shot 7 under. We posted it early. We're like, all right, I don't know if that gets it done. We're waiting around and dodging bullets as it comes in, and then we end up tying for medalist, and we get in a playoff. And the other guys, so it's 2 other teams and ourselves, so 3 teams, and then get to the playoff hole, hit a good drive down there, had a good look at birdie, and other group, I can't remember the guy's names, but he just buried a dagger, 25-footer. It was rolling like a freight train and center cut. It's like, one spot only here. Come on, I'm an alternate all the time, but it's like, well, we still got another hole to play couple holes because we got one more team to try to beat. And ironically, on the other team is my buddy Alex Simcox, and I played with him the first 2 years, but he moved down to Boise, so he's like, I don't want to play. He's going back and forth, and he's a really good player. And I'm like, well, I got to find someone. So I got my buddy Sean, who lives in Boise as well. So we play. So my former partner is on the other team in the playoff, and then we're both.
Oh my God!
All 4 of us just kind of got that winded, like, yeah, that guy just buried that thing, and all right, can we just split? Let's just keep playing, and then so go to the next hole and get a drive down there. I end up making a 25-footer, kind of a snake putt, and it's like, oh, all right, that's first alternate. They just missed theirs, and once again, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Alternates never get in. People always say you get in. So I've been alternate a couple other times, and this is ridiculous. Next year. And then sure enough on Wednesday, get a call from New Jersey. I'm like, what's this, a telemarketer? And then it's like, hey, this is Alex from the USGA. you guys are in if you'd like to take the spot. It's like, are you kidding me? Yes, we're
wow.
Sign us up.
So cool.
That's pretty cool
awesome.
to say I get to play in a USGA event. It's always been a goal of mine, and it's that's everything I'm trying to do is, in a sick way, I'm just trying to play as much golf as possible. like a lot of it.
Not a bad goal.
I get
Where's that national event at?
That's going to be at Country Club of Birmingham in May.
Sweet.
So
I know who I'm rooting for in that one now.
Exactly.
How nervous were you to start that playoff? I always get a little nervous when the playoff starts. It's like
exactly. Yeah, a little more adrenaline going, and I'm like, and I've been in a couple of them, but each time you still get just a little bit more adrenaline, and I'm like, all right, I took driver out, and I'm like, I'm just gonna take it back smooth, wide turn, and I'm just gonna pound it no matter what, and where it goes. But one thing's for sure, I'm gonna try to unleash this adrenaline and just pound one. And I hit it pretty good, and then the other guy in the group who ended up making the putt, he like nuked one. I'm like, oh, this boy, he really hits it. So, but hey, you got to get the ball in the hole, right? So always
right.
distance to talk about. But
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. I mean, like I said, from this is not what I expected at all in terms of where we went with this, because I was like, well, we're going to talk about a little tape, and then finding out we've got a guy playing in a USGA event in May. Like that's pretty special.
Yeah, I mean, Lead Tape Chronicles could have been anyone. And it turned.
Yeah, exactly.
It just turns out we
me.
got like the U.S. Hickory champion and someone who's playing the national four ball. So much fun, Andrew.
Yeah, with
thank
the page,
you
it's like,
for joining the show. But
no,
please go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, just with the page, just like to keep it. I'll put some of my golf stuff on there, but I'm like, hey, this is about so many people. It's cool talking to folks with golf clubs and sending them in and everything. Like, let's keep it about the golf, and then I'll put some stuff on there here and there. But it's good to have all the people that you see throwing in with all the content out there like that.
Yeah, we love what you're doing.
Yeah.
You definitely got to update the people on what's going on, though, in your
I'll
personal
do that.
golf life. I think it'll be interesting. It's cool that the guy running Lead Tape Chronicles actually plays well.
Yeah. He's not just a hack like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, if you're listening now, definitely get on Instagram, look up at Lead Tape Chronicles. It's
great name.
It's an awesome,
great name too.
It's a great name, and it's a great page. There's everything from brand new sticks to old stuff to stuff you probably never heard of covered in lead tape. It's pretty cool.
That's exactly right.
So, but all right, man. Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Really appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time to join us. It was awesome. I'm so shocked and happy that we got to bring you on, because this is
so
awesome.
much fun.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This is awesome. I really like your guys' show, and I had to take a listen the other day. I'm like, this is my kind of language, so I appreciate it.
We're just some gear nerds, just getting all hyped up about gear. That's our life.
That's right.
So that was Lead Tape Chronicles. Fun little interview, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like I said in the interview, I mean, what I expected that to be was totally different. It was unexpected. It was fun. It was awesome. So what a cool dude.
I know. Shout out him for making the time, taking away from his actual grinding sessions and his Instagram posting. And we'll be back next week from the Genesis.
Nice.
All right. Enjoy.